Our next video is Exodus chapter 23, and this is entitled Standing for the Truth When the Crowd Goes Wrong. In the middle of the laws of Exodus chapters 20, 21, 22, and here in chapter 23, in these three verses, we see that justice for all, but also the importance of standing and doing what is right. Let's read the first three verses. You shall not circulate a false report. Do not put your hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. You shall not follow a crowd to do evil, nor shall you testify in a dispute, so as to turn aside after many to pervert justice. You shall not show partiality to a poor man in his dispute. Of course, all this is at the beginning of Exodus chapter 23. And so here we see that the text reminds us of three powerful instructions. First of all, don't spread falsehood. Don't circulate a false report. Then, don't follow a crowd in wrongdoing. Do not put your hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. And then 3, don't twist justice out of favoritism. And though written thousands of years ago, these commands are incredibly relevant today. So the first one was don't spread false reports. God cares deeply about the truth. False reports damage reputations, destroy trust, and harm communities, and can harm churches either on a local or on a wider scale. Of course, in the New Testament, we see the danger of false testimony during the trial of Jesus. Matthew 26, 59 to 60. False witnesses were brought forward to testify in the trial of Jesus, and lies were used to condemn the only sinless man who ever lived. Think about that. Religious leaders allowed false stories to serve their agenda. And of course, the lesson for us is we must never take part in spreading unchecked information, gossip, or accusations. Whether in conversation, group chat, online, God calls us to be people of truth. Truth is not optional for believers. It reflects the very character of Christ. Second thing we'll see is don't follow the crowd to do evil. One of the clearest New Testament examples, of course, is Pontius Pilate, recorded in all four Gospels, but Mark 15, verses 13 to 14, the crowd shouted, "Crucify him." Many in that crowd likely had no personal grievance against Jesus, but they were swept up in the public pressure. The volume of voices replaced the pursuit of truth. Crowds can be loud, culture can be persuasive, social pressure can feel overwhelming, but right and wrong are not determined by the majority vote. Following Jesus sometimes means standing alone. It's having the courage to say, I won't laugh at that. I won't join in that. I won't repeat that. I won't support that. And faith requires backbone. Thirdly, don't pervert justice or show partiality. God is compassionate to the poor, but justice still has to be impartial. We are not to twist truth out of sympathy, anger, favoritism, or bias. In the New Testament, we see a powerful contrast in John's Gospel, chapter 7. Nicodemus, a Pharisee, speaks up during a heated discussion about Jesus and says, "Does our Lord judge a man before he hears him and knows what he's doing?" Nicodemus didn't declare full support for Jesus at that moment, but he insisted on fairness. He was willing to question the rush to judge Jesus, and that takes courage. Justice requires patience. It requires hearing both sides. It requires resisting emotional reactions. Of course, the ultimate example is Jesus himself. He's the perfect example. In fact, he's the only perfect example of someone who refused to spread falsehood, that is lies, refused to follow simple crowds, and refused to twist justice. Even when falsely accused, he did not retaliate with lies. Even when pressured, he remained faithful to the truth. He stood alone so that we could be forgiven. So this passage, that was written in Exodus chapter 23, it challenges us today in our everyday lives. What is our reaction when we hear gossip? Do we pass it on, or do we stop it at the point of contact? When the crowd presses us, do we blend in, or do we stand out? When emotions run high, do we judge fairly or based on the moment? Integrity is tested most when everyone else is doing it. Speaking up costs us something, and silence can be easier. But God is looking for people who stand for the truth, even when the truth is unpopular. And so right here from Exodus chapter 23, we're challenged. Stand for the truth when the crowd goes wrong. Don't spread falsehood. Don't follow the crowd in wrongdoing. And don't twist justice out of favoritism. Be better to follow the example of Jesus, who refused to spread lies, refused to follow sinful crowds, and refused to twist justice. Thank you for listening.